It's quite easy. Just read through the cookies policy and the data privacy policy.
Oh, nakalive na. Live na ako.
And so we're back. I apologize for whatever technical glitches we're suffering. Uh, that's a problem with data connection here in the Philippines. No, no matter how expensive your your broadband, your fiber or data connection may be, at some point talagang bibigay at bibigay. Okay, now let's go back. As I was saying, uh, social data, said data privacy processing is limited to the contractual obligation, so it should be limited merely to ensuring that you've got a good experience, the best possible experience as you navigate through this application. In no way should they sell this particular data to third-party users. Nothing again, we don't have the time to do it now, but I advise you to read through the cookies policy and the data privacy policy of all of these online applications that you're using. Because I have, not only prior to this particular activity, but even before, I've read through them in other lectures that I'm doing for other government agencies that I work with. I'm quite shocked with the power that I granted the social networking sites, specifically social networking sites. The power that I grant them over my personal data. No? So, I advise you to do the same. Pakibasa po, if you, most of us have a lot of time because most of us are at home. I hope. Okay. Now, data should not be sold, shared to third-party users, such as data mining companies. Basically, ad companies, yung mga advertising agencies, they're the ones who benefit from your online behavior. So, it's for that reason that companies generally collect, store. But then again, there is a limitation to the historical data that they can store. Um, the most, according to the cybercrime prevention law, the most that they could store generally is up to 6 months. Well, technically, because there are limitations to storing a lot of this data, it would entail storing this data in huge servers that could consume large spaces in a company, just putting up servers that would store the data that goes to the traffic in this particular application. Kaya medyo may limitations din. So technically, there is a limitations to the historical data that these companies can collect. But then again, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, that's still a lot of historical. You tell entire pictures about your life, about your preferences and that. Okay, I put this in asterisk because as I keep on saying, unless the data subject explicitly agrees that you are giving power to this social networking sites, to this online messaging application, to this online conferencing applications to sell your data to third-party users. Now, schools, offices, government offices, private offices, have to put this particular caveat, this particular notations in their own company policies, in their own school policies. Pakilagay po na yung inyong transactional, yung inyong contractual relationship between your school. Kasi malamang po, sa inyong school, opisina, government man yan or private, malamang ang kukuha ng online conference application, ang kukuha ng mga accounts na ito, ang magbabayad, ay hindi naman yung mga bata, hindi naman yung mga estudyante, hindi naman yung mga trabahador, hindi naman yung mga employees sa loob ng kumpanya o mga estudyante sa loob ng eskwelahan na yan. Ang kukuha niya ay yung kumpanya, yung school mismo. Kinakailangan yung inyong personal information controller, maganda yung human resource officer, ay kinakailangan basahin ng maigi ang fine print na ito. At kung maaari, sulatan. Kung kayo yung mga eskwelahan, kung kayo yung mga opisina, kung maaari ay sulatan ninyo itong mga kumpanyang ito at maliwanag ilagay ninyo sa sulat, sa Zoom, sa Google Meet, o kung saan man, na hindi ninyo pinapayagan ang anumang paraan na maaaring magamit ang personal information o ang anumang mga recording ng mga meetings, ng mga classes, ng mga taong napapasailalim sa mga applications na ito. Put that in writing, send that to Zoom, send that to those applications. To protect your school, to protect your students, to protect your employees and the like. Nang hindi na magamit kung saan pa man. COVID has opened up a lot of opportunities but a lot of challenges for all of us. No? So, may mga kasigahang naidudulot sapagkat kung yung hindi na natin magawa mga meetings sa mga face-to-face, ay pasalamat tayo kay online conference applications na gagawa pa rin natin, albeit virtually, remotely. Kaya lang, nawawalan tayo nga ng control. Yung control na yon, yung peligro na ibinibigay na yung peligrong pinapasok natin, sinusuong natin ang ating mga sarili. So, write Zoom, write everyone, write all of these online conference applications that you are not granting them the authority, the power to use, share all of this data to third-party users. Kapag bakit? Kapag binuksan ninyo ulit yung kanilang mga cookies policy, pag binuksan ninyo ulit yung kanilang mga data privacy policy, mabibigla kayo sa power at binibigyan ninyo sa kanila. So para mabawasan kahit paano yung peligrong yun, put that in writing and write it to them. And write and send it to them. Now, I was browsing through Zoom yesterday, and I was looking at their accounts, yung mga pricing policies nila, and so on and so forth. Medyo may kamahalan. So, for example, yung Pro nila, yung second package nila is roughly around $15 to $20, $15 per host, no? Per host. And the most, the other pricing package that they have, $19, $20 per host. Kaya lang yung number of hosts, the minimum number of hosts is 10. So, parang tinignan ko parang 50,000 as opposed to 100,000. Medyo may kamahalan nga po talaga ito. This amount of money that you pay them basically should bind them for them to protect your data, your personal information. So, huwag kayong mangimik, huwag kayong magkailangan na sulatan itong mga applications na ito. On that note, I was tempted to say, any questions? Unfortunately, virtually nga po pala, no questions. I guess the staff are receiving questions, so we'll try to answer the questions that you have offline na po. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Ito po. Zoom collects only the user data that is required to provide you Zoom services. It cannot be more explicit than that. Only tanging yung mga datos, para mabigyan kayo ng kanilang serbisyo. This includes technical, operational support, and service improvement. Example, they collect your information such as your IP address, kung nasaan kayo, yung OS niyo, yung device, to deliver the best possible Zoom experience to you regardless of how and from where you join. So technically, yun lamang ang limitasyon kung papaano at sa papaanong paraan nila pwedeng magamit yung inyong personal information. Hindi na dapat lalagpas doon. Sabi pa nila, we do not use data we obtain from your use of our services, including your meetings, for any advertising. We do not use those data. We do not use the data we obtain from you when you visit our marketing sites, such as and so on and so forth. You have control over again, as I keep on saying, this is a double-edged sword. If you limit the type of cookies that Zoom or these online conference applications can record about your visit, about your use of their application, it likewise limits your ability to enjoy and use their application. Sapagkat naikakahon yung inyong karanasan doon sa paggamit ng kanilang application. So technically, the question is, do you really have a choice not to opt in? Meron ka nga bang choice? Wala. Of course, you want the best possible experience. You want the best possible experience in that particular application. So, kaya nga una kong puntong nasabi kanina, they have the tendency to prod you. Itulak ka to opt in and use their services. Right? So, would you take the time, if you're a school, if you're an office employee, if you're an office HR officer, if you're an office manager, would you take the time really to click through their cookie settings and click out one at a time to limit what they can record? I don't know. If you have the time, well and good. If you don't, then this is just words. Next.
Google Meet.
Okay. So, wag mo na. Okay, yung last part. It's very important for our educators. This ought to be in open close. So these are direct liftings and total lifted from the data privacy policy of Zoom still. We are particularly focused on protecting the privacy of K-12 users. Why? Again, because all of these K-12 users are below 18 years old, technically. So generally, they're children, legally speaking. So both Zoom's privacy policy and Zoom's K-12 schools and districts privacy policy are designed to reflect Zoom's compliance to the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, and so on and so forth. All of these laws are American laws. But I would imagine some of these laws of extraterritorial applications, they apply the same in other sovereign territories. No? So many laws, not all laws, but many laws of extraterritorial applications, provisions. I wasn't able to take a look at all of these laws of extraterritorial applications, and if they do, these laws, whatever provisions of these laws would likewise apply to the United States. U.S. courts would have jurisdiction over Zoom if they do something of that and someone used that here in the Philippines. Okay. Now, for those of you watching later on, for those of you who will be viewing, who are from schools, basic education schools, K-12 schools, junior high schools, basic elementary schools, take time to read through the K-12 policies of Zoom and other online conference applications that you would opt to use later on in your schools. Okay? To protect the students, to protect the children, and like us to protect, to give parents the best possible information, the best possible data that would guide their decision whether they would allow their students, their children to continue to stay in school for this school year, given the fact that most of the instructions now will be online. Okay, so a few months back, I saw a friend post a picture of his young son on a social networking site. Wala lang, yung tuwang-tuwa siguro yung bata, ay tuwang-tuwa yung papa, yung daddy niya, yung kaibigan ko yun, na i-post yung picture ng bata na medyo compromising. But yung bata, I haven't met the child yet. Probably the child is less than 4 years old, 4 years old pababa. So technically, there's nothing sexually harmful or sexually explicit about it. Kung ang nanonood ay isang taong walang sexual predilections toward children. Pero sabi ko doon sa ama, pwede papayuhan kita bilang kaibigan, tanggalin mo yan sapagkat hindi lahat ng nasa social networking sites ay katulad natin mag-isip. Yung iba talaga naghahanap ng mga litrato, ng mga batang katulad doon para kunin at ibenta sa dark web. Sapagkat mga pedophiles nga po sila, pinagkakakitaan nila. Sabi ko, para hindi maging biktima ng online sexual exploitation yung bata mo, yung anak mo, kahit man lang sa litrato, tanggalin mo sa Facebook. Buti naman na tinanggal niya. So, sa panahon ng COVID, dalawang peligro ang kinakaharap ng mga kabataan ngayon. Dalawang peligro ang dapat sa isip ng mga magulang. Una nga ay yung desisyon kung papayagan nila ang kanilang mga anak na magpatuloy sa pag-aaral ngayong taon na ito, knowing na may problema tayo ng COVID, knowing na sa pagpasok nila sa eskwelahan, mayroong posibleng exposure na mangyari doon sa bata. Yan ang unang peligro. Ang pangalawang peligro, gawa ng karamihan sa pagtuturo ngayon ay magiging online. Malaki ang posibilidad na hindi natin mabantayan bilang mga educational institutions yung mga information na nasi-share natin tungkol sa mga bata as they go online. So, be very careful, educational institutions, lalo na sa basic education until K-12 schools. Be very careful of your use of social conference applications, your social messaging applications, social networking applications. Be very, very careful. Yun po ang dalawang peligro na lagi kong sinasabi sa panahon ngayon ng COVID. Let's go to Google Meet. Google Meet is not as popular as Zoom yet. Well, because medyo marami pang limitation yung Google Meet. For example, the maximum that could join the conversation is, if I'm not mistaken, 50 hanggang 50. No, yung Zoom naman, kapag free edition ang ginamit mo, hanggang 40 minutes lamang ang pwede mo magamit. So you really need the paid version of Zoom para magamit mo siya ng pangmatagalan, isang buong araw, 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken, yung basic package nila. Ngayon sa Google Meet, I haven't explored this yet, except the fact na alam ko na hanggang 50 lamang yung kanyang kayang gamitin. Ang kayang mag-join doon sa Google Meet. Now, friends, mapa-Zoom man yan, o mapa-Google Meet man yan, pareho po yan merong screen sharing application. Pareho po silang merong screen sharing feature. Now, be very, very careful with this feature. Bakit? Basically, anybody could share what is on their screen. No? So, yung mga hosts ng mga meetings na ito, yung mga hosts ng mga classes na ito, be very explicit in informing all the participants, for example, of your meetings, of your classes, as to who has the ability to control this particular feature, this screen sharing. Technically, anybody can share their screen, but for the purposes of education, I would suggest na i-lay down ninyo yung parameters, yung rules ninyo. Kung papayagan ba ninyo na lahat ay mag-share, o hindi, o kung yung teacher lamang, o yung instructor lamang, o yung lecturer lamang, ang pwedeng mag-share kung ano man nakita nila on screen. Why? Well, there are many possible scenarios that my mind could conjure, no? So, be very careful. Paki-lay down yung rules as to screen sharing. What can be shared and who can share. Para masigurado lamang na hindi magkaroon ng problema yung sinishare natin. Wala tayong ma-post na hindi dapat makita ng mga minor de edad. No? Sapagkat ilang beses na rin, in fact, mayroong isang government official bago mag-eleksyon. He was doing a presentation, nabigla na lamang yung government official na yon, nung sinaksak niya kanyang USB, yung na-share niya sa kanyang presentation was actually a porn clip. No, so be very careful. Lalo't may mga minor de edad at karamihan manunood ng inyong mga pagtuturo. So, again, be very wary of, very careful while you use the screen sharing feature of either Google Meet or Zoom application. Okay. Now, ito naman po ay ang privacy policy ni Google Meet. Tingnan natin. Google is committed to building products that protect the privacy and so on and so forth. It's basically almost the same in essence to what Zoom was saying. Likewise, they say that they do not use your customer data for advertising. Right? But then again, you'd ask, magtatanong kayo, generally, Google does not charge anything from us to use Google. You go through Google to search for whatever, you search for the best takeout, available takeout pizza, available takeout Starbucks, or available takeout coffee. Novaliches, Quezon City. So, wala kang babayaran para mag-access. So, technically, mag-iisip ka, ano yung ikinabubuhay ni Google? Again, data mining. And they're in the business of making money, take particular data that are being shared online. I cannot overemphasize the fact that nowadays, one of the most valuable resource out there is data, information. So online data is very valuable. Okay. Now, Google Meet ostensibly does not have user attention tracking features. So they don't have this particular feature, so to speak. Next one. Google prides itself in being transparent. It likewise prides itself in regularly auditing all of their services. They supposedly rigorously examine their security and they conduct rigorous security and privacy audits of their cloud services, including Google Meet. Now, Google Meet is very new, so we have yet to see really what it can do. Now, with Google Vote, admins can set retention policies for your recordings as they are stored in your Google Drive. Now, this is useful to fulfill legal obligations. So, it's quite useful, it's quite okay to store, to record your data over at Google Drive. Next, now, hindi na ho ito kay Google. Let's take note of this. I'd like to raise some points. I'd like to raise some points. One. But I highlight in caps, all websites collect your cookies. And these cookies are small piece of data sent from a website and stored on the user's computer by the user's web browser while the user is browsing. So it's stored. It creates a digital footprint of what you did, of what your preferences are. Basically, cookies take note of how you behave online. So it takes notes of your online behavior. Now for Zoom, remember they say they do not allow marketing companies, advertisers, or similar companies to access personal data in exchange for payment. They do not allow third parties to use any personal data obtained from them for their own purposes unless we grant them consent. Now, that is a caveat, unless we grant them consent. So again, how can you unwittingly, unconsciously provide them consent? Go back to their cookies policies. Go back to their data privacy policies. Better yet, focus on the cookies policy. Take note of what you allow them in terms of cookies to store and record. Pakitingnan. Kasi mas malamang kesa hindi, nandoon yung pagbibigay ninyo ng consent sa kanila sa pag-track ng inyong behavior at kung kanino nila ito pinamimigay. Okay? Our customers may use the webinar service to generate their own marketing leads and so on and so forth. Now, kay Google naman po. Next. Sabi ni Google, we use cookies for many purposes. We use them, for example, to remember your safe search preferences, to make the ads you see more relevant to you, to count how many visitors you receive to a page, to help you sign up for our services, to protect your data, or to remember your answer. Okay. Yun po yung kanilang sinabi. But something happened. Next slide. Remember the Cambridge Analytica scandal that really cost Facebook a lot of headache? What is Cambridge Analytica? Cambridge Analytica is basically a data mining company. So, it was discovered that Facebook actually shared our online behavior over their platform, over Facebook, to Cambridge Analytica. And who were the clients of Cambridge Analytica? My God, a lot of big companies and a lot of politicians as well. Just imagine if your entire pattern of let's say the entire pattern of online behavior of 3 million people, of 87 million people, of 100 million people, let's say 30 million voters in the Philippines. All of our online behavior, all of our online patterns were recorded by Facebook, and Facebook gave this to Cambridge Analytica or any other data mining company. And some politicians or some companies, some multinational corporations buy this data from these data mining companies. Because that's what they do. They mine the data and they sell these companies to whoever needs them, to whoever finds them valuable. Ibibenta talaga nila. And you could only imagine the power that we are granting to these users. So, ilang users na po yun? First user will be you, the second user will be Facebook, the third user will be Cambridge Analytica, the fourth user could be a politician, the fourth user could be a company, a multinational corporation. And This politician running for president, for example, this company who would like to sell their new brand of soap. This company selling this brand of soap would like to find out what is the scent most preferred by consumers. Di ba? Hindi na kinakailangan mag-focus group discussion sapagkat kitang-kita mo na yung preference ng ilang milyong mga tao na gumagamit ng Facebook. So, that was a big scandal. That was quite a big scandal. Now, yung kanina, yung nabanggit ko, yung Zoom porn scandal. Okay. Now, ostensibly, na-address na daw po ng Facebook at saka ng Zoom yung mga weaknesses na ito sa loob ng kanilang mga platforms, sa loob ng kanilang mga mechanisms. But mind you, as of this lecture, as of this day, the New York Attorney General's office and of course some private individuals have filed federal lawsuits against Zoom, supposedly, allegedly, because, well, the Zoom supposedly, allegedly stores and sells our online behavior over their platform. So, what does this mean for us as we conclude this particular lecture? Ano yung moral at saka legal obligation that office managers have, the moral and legal obligations that educators have. Office managers, the obligation that office managers have to their employees. So one, make sure that your office assigns a personal information controller. The Data Privacy Act requires that you have a data privacy controller. Personal information controller. Someone in your office is mandated to set the policies pertaining to how information are stored now, and how information are shared, and to whom this information can be shared, and in what manner this information can be shared. It's quite easy actually. You only need to go back to the Data Privacy Act and to the implementing rules and regulation of the law. It's very simple. They're quite easy to understand. The rights that every data subject must enjoy, and the limitations that every office have relative to the data that they store inside the office. So just go back to the IRR, just go back to the law itself. Napakadali po niya intindihin. So every office manager and every HR manager and every school is duty bound to assign a personal information controller. Next, to educators, be it in the basic education or to higher education. Again, first, I implore you to carefully read through data privacy policies. I implore you to read through cookies policies. Second, make sure to examine, go through the internet, look at the pattern, look at the reputation, look at the credentials of all of these online conference applications, of this online messaging application, of the social networking sites that you may opt to use in your online delivery. Not every school can afford to procure a learning, an LMS, a learning management system. Not all schools can afford to do that. So some schools may opt to use Zoom. Some schools may opt to use Google Meet for easy access and for cheaper and more affordable access. But should you do so, look at the limitations, look at the dangers. And again, do not neglect to write these online conference applications that you are explicitly disallowing them the use of whatever personal information being shared on their platforms to third-party users. Despite the fact, kahit pa isinulat na nila yan di umano sa kanilang mga data privacy policies. Sapagkat hindi tayo nakakasiguro base doon sa mga nakaraang pangyayari aking mga nabanggit na po. So put all of this in writing and send it to them. And finally, for educators, talk to the parents. Allow the parents to make the decision with the school. If possible, talk to the general PTA association, to the PTA association of the school, be it a private school or a public school. Public school, I would imagine that the Public School Teachers Association need to talk to DepEd para masigurado na kasama kayo, pinakailangan magkaroon ng consultation, transparency on the part of DepEd, consultation on their part to include the teachers and the parents of our public schools in the decision as to the platform that they will be using, assuming that DepEd will go online, no? Or if DepEd will go through blended, so may online, may offline, so dapat maliwanag pa rin po na kasama kayo doon sa paggawa ng desisyon kung anong mga platforms ang inyong gagamitin. Now, for private schools, same reminders apply. The parents have to be consulted as to the platforms that your schools will be using. So, on that note, I end this morning's webinar. You can send comments, questions offline, and we will try our best to address all of these questions that you have offline. Likewise, for those who have viewed this particular webinar, you may request at certain limitations. You may request copies of the videos on demand for you to be able to view them at your own pace after we edit whatever mishaps that we may have had during the conduct of the ceremony. So, thank you very much and good morning.